One of the newest additions to Gen 9, introduced with the Indigo Disc DLC, Archaludon, has proven to be a great Pokemon in Gen 9 competitive singles so far. With its incredible typing, great stats, move pool and its ability Stamina, it has been able to secure a spot in the OU tier. Not only that, but it has seen a lot of usage and proven to be one of the more powerful additions in the metagame. Lately this Pokemon has shown how strong it can be, especially on rain teams, and is now getting suspect tested and potentially banned for how overwhelming it can be when paired on said rain teams. So what makes Archaludon potentially ban-worthy, and should it even be banned? Let's discuss. Sup y'all, so Archaludon might get banned from the Gen 9 overuse tier. Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about, we have a post as well. First thing I want to say, we still got no sprite for this Pokemon, so I'm just gonna have to edit in one myself to make it more visually appealing. But first let's go over the suspect reasoning from the OU Council. So we got a post, of course, on the suspect test of Archaludon. We're not gonna read through the whole thing, but we're gonna discuss the reasoning anyway. But just if you want to know, the post will be linked down below. There's a whole section on why they chose to suspect Archaludon despite the lower support on the tiering survey. They also talk about how much they want to do tiering surveys, etc, etc. And there's a whole section about Archaludon's suspect reasoning, and also a little chart on how effective it is has been on rain teams, especially in the SPL, Spoken Premier League. It's linked down below if you want to participate, read more on it yourself, but we're gonna go over it anyway. So Archaludon, I did not even actually expect this to be as problematic as it is, based on the first impressions when it came out. But it's great. It's kind of what the August should have been, if you ask me. So what makes this Pokemon so great, of course, Steel Dragon is an incredible defensive typing, and it's also great offensively as well. But it only has two weaknesses, ground and fighting, which, you know, those are two very strong and common offensive typings, but it has so much resistances that it makes up for that. Not to mention you have Stamina, right, which raises your defense stat by 1 stage after getting hit by a damaging move. And the most common and strongest fighting and ground moves are physical, so it kind of makes up for that as well. You know, this Pokemon stats are good. It has a solid special attack stat, good, you know, naturally physical, high physical bulk. So you're not, and yeah, it has low special defense, but you have Assault Vest to make up for that. You're not one-hit KOing this Pokemon even with a super effective move. Great Tusk is not one-hit KOing with close combat. Choice Specs Curum with Dragon Meteors, not one-hit KOing either. Which in a sense, this Pokemon is kind of like Melmetal to me. You cannot one-hit KO it, but it is one-hit KOing you back. I mean, Archaludon can easily one-hit KO both the aforementioned Pokemon with a Dragon Meteor of its own. You know, that want to go over its moveset. You know, Draco, Meteor, and Flash Cannon are solid step options, especially Draco Meteor. The problem is you're easily walled by Steel types. But not this Pokemon, because it has plenty of coverage moves, most notably Body Press, which pairs very nicely with its naturally high physical defense stat and Stamina. Which means in some cases you don't even want to hit this Pokemon because you are boosting its Body Press damage. Perfect coverage for Steel types. If you really don't want to run this and invest more special attack, you have the Aura Sphere right there. However, Body Press helps way more against threats like Blissey, for example, Ting Lu as well. And the last move, of course, its signature move, Electro Shot. Normally this would be a 2-turn move, but in rain it's a 1-turn move. And it raises its special attack by 1 stage. Electric move, 130 base power, very strong, 100% accurate as well, unlike Meteor Beam, which is not 100% accurate. This Pokemon, this is basically why this Pokemon requires no setup, and it's a prominent staple on rain teams because of this move. This is basically a third stab option, right? Not only is it very strong, but you raise your special attack by 1 stage. You have perfect coverage, makes this Pokemon very hard to switch in defensively, and you cannot really take it out offensively. Unless, of course, it has been chipped, right? But in a 1v1 scenario, this Pokemon will always win. And, you know, you could say, oh, Electro Shot, it gets countered by ground types at least. But even if you switch in your ground type Predictor Electro Shot, it still gains that +1 special attack set. That's not going away. So that's really where the problem lies with this Pokemon. It's very difficult to switch in defensively, thanks to its perfect coverage and Electro Shot being as powerful as it is. And you cannot take it out offensively. Even if you could, this Pokemon is like a perfect user of Terra Fairy, which basically flips all of its matchups even further by giving it another great defensive typing. The only really reliable counter we have against Archaludon right now is Clodsire, because it's just naturally specially bulky, it resists body press, and it's just a great Pokemon against rain teams if you run Water Absorb. With Water Absorb, it can kind of shut down rain teams on its own almost, which means you could use Unaware, but in that case you're less reliable against rain teams. However, what you also could do, something that has been more common, for example, you could use Water Absorb with Amnesia. Amnesia has been more common as of late. Boost your special attack stat, which means you're not as threatened by the Electro Shot boost, but also you still have that great Water Absorb ability. And I've talked about this in the past a little bit as well, but this Pokemon is like the perfect fit on rain teams, not only because it's a great threat, but it solves a lot of range problems. For example, Ogerpon Wellspring is, has been more common as of late to counter rain teams, but this Pokemon completely gets shut down by Archaludon. Another Pokemon problematic to rain teams, Rillaboom, because, it's a grass type with high priority. Rain teams are, they tend to have a lot of water Pokemon on the team. But not the Archaludon really completely shuts down Rillaboom as a whole. The best it can do is either U-turn or knockoff. And King Gambit, another very problematic Pokemon to rain teams. It has Sucker Punch, which means it will one-hit kill a lot of the frailer rain offensive threats. But Archaludon does not really care. It can take a hit quite well, and it can threaten back once it has taken that hit with a stamina boosted body press. I will say though, this Pokemon is not flawless. With Assault Vest, it has no longevity. You could of course use Leftovers, which gives you more longevity but makes you significantly weaker on your special bulk. Grassy terrain is also a good option to have the best of both worlds, not to mention basically an effective and resist to Earthquake, right? Outside of rain teams, this Pokemon is not nearly as threatening, which means it does require a specific playstyle to be built around, which is rain, of course, which means you are forced to use Pelipper, which is, not a good Pokemon, and its only jump is to set up rain. So it does require some team support to be effective. Support sets are good, but not nearly as threatening, like I mentioned. Overall though, what I think really is the biggest problem is you cannot really answer it defensively. It can get out of hand quite quickly on those rain teams, and to me it feels like a basically like Melmetal, but impossible to answer defensively. It will always gain a KO, or at least trade. Maybe it gain 2 KOs. So that's really the problem I have when facing this Pokemon. So let me know your thoughts about Archaludon being suspect tested. Do you think it's broken? Do you think it should be banned? Do you think it's fine? Curious to read your comments. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.